This presentation details the organization of my personal recipe collection using Google Drive. My original recipe collection was comprised of a binder full of printed and handwritten recipes. However, a few years ago I began saving my recipes to a Google Drive folder instead. This allowed me to access my recipes from multiple devices and locations and saved on paper. At the start of this project, the recipes were piled into one folder, not filed into specific folders. Most of these recipes were titled according to the default titles by the creator, including buzzwords and SEO-optimized vocabulary. While most of the items were PDFs, some were images and a few were Google Docs. Many of these recipes were used every week, but many more were aspirational recipes that have rarely or never been used. My primary goals were to add structure and standardization and clear clutter. To add structure, I plan to create folders based on similar document properties. To enhance searchability and orienteering, I plan to standardize the titles and create tags. Finally, I plan to weed out unneeded files to reduce clutter. In structuring this collection, I chose to restructure the folders for my entire Google Drive. Therefore, the Recipes folder went from freestanding in Google Drive to filed in the Home Management folder with utility receipts and manuals. The Recipes folder then has 5 subfolders. My original plan included very specific folder types. However, this would have caused me to duplicate recipes in many folders, which would be confusing and waste space. Based on the amount of recipes I had and the types of recipes I had, I chose 5 folders: baking, drinks, meals, sauces, and snacks. Google Drive automatically organizes files alphabetically. In order to aid in orienteering, I standardized the titles of my recipes to reflect the primary element of the recipe and removed extra descriptions. In order to make searching more effective, I chose a few tags that I use regularly and added them to the description field for each document. Challenges included deciding the most effective properties to use in order to create folders that reduced clutter but prevented duplication, defining simple and memorable tags, and choosing a sustainable structure. From these challenges, I learned to create a level of specificity and complexity that matches the scale of my collection, to test my methods to see if they are useful in my everyday life, and to keep a key for my search terms. I chose not to follow a keep everything approach in order to have a collection that was not overwhelming. However, this does force me to risk losing a document that I may want in the future. The property-based structure that I chose is the most appropriate choice for this kind of collection, but may not transfer well to more rigorous collections. Finally, I chose to standardize my document titles in order to create order and findability, but this did sacrifice more memorable file names that may have helped me locate a few specific documents. Google Drive is an accessible organization tool, and many patrons will likely need or want to use it at some point. It is helpful to know the features and limitations in order to help them with future PIM projects. By helping patrons create an organizational structure that is appropriate for their collection type and size, I can help them create PIM habits that will actually be sustainable in their everyday lives.